Onslaught is certainly one of the most sweatiest modes in Kingdom Rush battles. It can be very hard when you face opponents who are way above your rank or sometimes even pay to win. So in this video, I'm gonna be showing you a few tricks and tips and few of the decks which I like to use the most in Onslaught, which is effective and will help you get better on Onslaught. Without further ado, let's get into it. First of all, I would like to make few things very much clear. One of the first and last tip which I give every player is just as you unlock Onslaught mode, what you need to keep in mind is not play it right away. The reason behind that is if you're trying to just keep on playing it at early stage, chance to face some player from a very high arena, even stadium, which will have way much more experience and skill in terms of gameplay. So that is just going to be an advantage to you, I would consider, and at those moments you're just gonna lose. You're gonna have the highest chance to lose. So I recommend most people to keep on progressing even after unlocking Onslaught and playing Onslaught after the time you're somewhat near Bandit Slayer, because by that time you will have access to the most of the good meta cards you need, like Glacial Druid, Musketeers, Allura. You will have a chance to get those cards, and that's gonna make your life so much more easier in Onslaught. In early game, I personally feel like Alleria is good and we all joke about her, but yet in early arena she's pretty good. The problem while using her is you need to win the game by the time of wave 3 or 4. If you're not making it through that time, you're gonna be suffering in the last few waves because she isn't good when a lot of things are happening on the map. Meanwhile, Gerald is a better stable pick, I would consider. He's not too much broken, yet he is somewhat balanced, but he requires more micro management and very smart to use which lane he needs to prioritize and so much more. Compared to Alleria, Alleria can be still just microed around and she can just keep on attacking at a range, which makes her life so much more easier. Yet both have their pros and cons, but it depends on your playstyle and the deck. So here are a few decks I suggest in very early arena, just as you have unlocked the Onslaught mode. So this deck has not much to explain. It's pretty simple. You're gonna utilize the tower for the stun, and you're gonna use your mage for the magic resistance this tower gives up. Anything else than that is just alright. You have royal archers just for a great archer option, and as for barbarians, they're just the best ones you can get in the early game, so you're just going to be utilizing them to take care of the boosters which are annoying to deal with. For an example, there's the dragon, there is broodmother. You can take care of them very well with this. And if you're using Gerald, you're going to be trying your best to clear out ground level enemies as soon as possible, because that's the Gerald's best part in while using him. For Alleria, you're just going to keep your distance. Alleria is bad when you use her, which tended to give you great results in late game. So use her in a deck which helps you clear out enemies a lot much more faster. And she's really good in Stormcloud Mountains map, so if you see Stormcloud Mountains map in Onslaught, use Alleria, and if it's a Silver Rock Forest map, use Gerald, and that's gonna be more preferable. This is a pre-mid or mid deck I would consider, which is pretty good, that if you're good with the game, you can still manage to beat a dragon user with this. Options for Hero 2 over here. For the cards, these will be necessary in my opinion, because they're pretty good and they are quite the most meta out of all. So you're going to be utilizing Allura, Hacksaw, or Magnus Spellbane. For Hacksaw, I would recommend you to check out the guide I have created, from which you'll be able to understand how to use him. Not only that, the best decks for him. More than that, here try to use Allura or Magnus Spellbane, as both of them are very much effective in terms of their gameplay. If you don't have any of these, you can use anything like Alleria, Gerald. Those two are the only options you've got over here. You're going to be utilizing the Tesla for the AoE damage, Archmage for just teleporting the enemies to the opponent's side at the right moment. Don't waste the opportunities. Glacial Druid for stalling purposes. You have Barbarians to take care of the ground enemies like Broodmother and other stuff, but you can also use Archery Scouts, which are really good in terms of meta. Try using Archery Scouts if you have unlocked them. They can take care of flyers so much well enough. As for spell combinations, you can rather use Stun instead of the Icy Ground, Polymorph to get rid of the enemies which are hard to kill, and you can use Thunder or Rain of Fire according to the availability of spells you have. And this is an endgame deck, which I personally use the most, and here it is. Actually, there are in total 3 decks which I would like to share. The first one is this Necromancer deck, which is quite balanced, but I would recommend you to use this only if it's a Silver Oak Forest map. Anything out of that is just not viable to use this deck on, because in Stormcloud Mountains, Archmage is a lot much more better than this thing, so you just need to know this, and that's gonna solve a lot of your problems. Necromancer is very good in Silver Oak Forest. Anything out of that is not viable, so try using Necromancer Archmage deck in Silver Oak Forest. And this Archmage deck, well, that's something which you can use literally anywhere you like, I would consider. There are a few other honorable mentioned decks which I always like to share. This is the Dope and Glacial Druid spam strategy. You're just gonna utilize them, but it's not gonna be easy, as it is very hard to implement, yet when it works, which is really satisfactory. Tips and tricks which I usually provide, which are usually go-to things to do, so let's take a look at that. Start noticing. One of the main things which you need to understand while playing Onslaught is if there are 2 lanes from which enemies are coming in, you need to understand in which lane which enemies are coming from. First wave is basically going to be an experimental wave, so once you know what comes out of that wave, you can prepare your tower damage type according to the wave. So if a lane is having more magic resistance enemy, you're gonna, not that you need to stop making them, but you just need to know what tower would be better to build there. If you just start noticing these small things, a lot of big changes can happen. Two of the best boosters to get in early game is the Farm Hut and the Freeze Tower. As for enemy type boosters, you can use something like the Broodmother or the Call of the Dragon. Always keep an eye on what your opponent is doing. You can actually try to understand what opponent's side is building off. Is he trying to overwhelm you? Is he trying to get rid of your hero or something else? Basically, based on those information, you can actually try countering your opponent too. Or at least stay prepared for whenever that Archmage ping pong starts. One last part to take a note of, which is the best heroes in Onslaught at the moment are Barisad, Ice Cult, which are the best. Then comes Allura and Magnus Spellbane, and comes Hexa. Anything below that is just going to be viable if you don't have anything too good to be used at the moment. Best towers to be used in terms of an artillery, all artilleries are almost best except battle mecha to be used in this game mode. Anything else than that is very much good to use. As for mages, you can use something like Archmage, Necromancer, and if you're in early game, use the normal mage. As for barracks, you have the archery scouts and the barbarians. As for archer towers, you have royal archers and musketeers. Now here are a few of the approaches I like to go in when it comes to Onslaught as a free-to-play or as a normal player too. So what I usually do in Onslaught is gather up all of my tickets as much as possible and then go all out in once at a time in Onslaught. That's what my approach is. Yet, as for a player who is trying to learn the Onslaught mode and master it and get better at it, I would recommend you to just play it every single day. The more you play, the more good opponents you face is just a sign that you are ready to learn. There's always something new to learn. What strategies are really good at what map. Avoid the maps which you really don't like, because this is a non-RNG mode completely, where you are not having anything like a random map. It's just similar to Stadium. So what you can basically do is just play and find out what works and what doesn't. On my free-to-play account, I usually just try to get more cards as possible and then go into it, because I already have an idea of what is the meta in the Onslaught, what works, what doesn't work, etc. But in the early game you can just get few of the best cards possible: Dwarven Artillery, Musketeers, Barbarian. There is also choice for a mage, which is the normal mage. It's quite underrated, yet you can use it well enough, it works out really much well. More than that, I have tried my best showing up the best decks I have shown, and in any of these decks, Allura and Magnus Spellbane are gonna fit in, so if you have them, use them. They require some intense micro and good use of them. If you can use them well enough, they are even better than the dragons and have the potential to destroy any dragon user, because dragons are slow at attacking and need constant micro, which they're not the best at compared to Allura and Magnus Spellbane. So in any of these decks, if you have any of these two heroes, always prefer to use them if you can use them well. So I hope you found this one helpful. If you did, consider subscribing, it personally helps me out a ton, and go and check out my other videos as it personally helps me out a ton. And until there, keep on rushing.